Over the last 5 years, collaborative journalism has gone from a little-known and largely untrusted method of reporting to a strong, vibrant, and growing component of the media industry. Journalism outlets have been turning to collaboration as a way to share data and expertise, to take advantage of digital tools, stretch resources, and to grow their audience, all during a time when the competitive landscape has shifted. No longer are most media organizations competing head-to-head with each other. Competition today is for time and attention, and it's against social media platforms, gaming apps, search engines that personalize content discovery, and much more. Collaborative journalism is also gaining steam in part due to the massive economic and technological disruption that's destroyed some of the industry's core business models. Working in partnership is one way that news organizations, especially local outlets, can still tackle big and complex projects that serve the public interest in their communities.
When we say collaborative journalism, we're talking about journalists working across traditional media boundaries and across their own company lines to partner with other organizations to share story ideas, sources, tips, leads, and to together develop content that otherwise they would not have been able to do on their own. Today, by collaborating, we can leverage the power of many organizations all together to focus on stories that can have a big impact on multiple communities and can help solve problems together.
There are 5 big trends that we're seeing right now when it comes to collaborative journalism. Trend number 1 is that more collaborations are happening.
The number of collaborative projects we're seeing in the United States has grown quite a bit over the last 3 years. The number that have been launched in the last year alone is impressive. In late 2017, we started tracking collaborative projects in a database on collaborativejournalism.org, and lately it's been really hard to keep up. These new efforts are spread out across the entire country. Over the last 12 months, we've seen new collaborations in California, Texas, North Carolina, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Detroit, Denver, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and the list goes on. And we think it will continue to grow as more journalists adapt the practice.
What I have seen is that we find less and less reluctance from newsroom cultures and newsroom executives and editors to face collaborations. There's more willingness to work together, being open to work with local newsrooms, with people who have very different expertises or skill sets. I think that we have seen very successful experiments over the last 5 years that have convinced somehow that this is something worth investing in, despite the crazy 24/7 news cycle everybody is like sucked into.
The second trend is that more local newsrooms are participating in collaborations.
We're seeing a shift from collaborations largely being done or led by big news organizations and nonprofits, such as the Panama Papers or ProPublica and its many projects, to more local collaborations. News organizations in specific cities, regions, or states who are partnering.
When we talk about more local collaborations, the California Reporting Project is one example where more than 30 news organizations teamed up to pool and review newly released police misconduct records. In North Carolina, 11 news organizations partnered with Carolina Public Press on Seeking Conviction, a series about sexual assault and the law. Meanwhile, in Atlantic City, Stories of AC is an initiative that pairs a group of community members and a half-dozen media partners to produce a series of restorative narrative stories. And there are many, many other examples. Trend number 3 is that more people are being hired specifically as collaboration managers.
As the number of collaborations grows in the United States, especially local projects, and as the focus turns more from why journalists should collaborate to how to do it, we're seeing a rise in the employment of collaboration managers. This is because successful collaborative projects usually have someone running them, or at least a single point of contact for everyone involved. There are now at least 24 people in the United States whose jobs are specifically to manage collaborative journalism projects.
Trend number 4, more formal collaboratives are launching.
We're seeing formal, ongoing collaboratives being started. Networks like the New Jersey News Commons, Ohio Valley Resource, Alaska's Energy Desk, the Detroit Journalism Cooperative, and the Northwest News Network have been joined by Resolve Philadelphia, the Bay Area Media Collaborative, the Colorado Media Project, the Granite State News Collaborative, Bridge Pittsburgh, and more.
Broken Philly is a collaboration of 19 local news organizations in Philadelphia doing dedicated reporting on solutions to poverty and how America's poorest big city moves towards economic justice. And so I think really the collaborative nature of this project could potentially mean that we're able to kind of shift the entire public narrative on poverty in Philadelphia. You know, it's a city that for the last decade has had a poverty rate that's been the highest in the country, 26%. Half the city can't actually struggles to make ends meet without some sort of external financial assistance. And so by having a critical mass of local news organizations who are not just looking at the nature of the problem, you know, systemic and historical contributing factors, but potential solutions, we have the possibility to actually, you know, really engage stakeholders who have the potential to make change in this area.
And trend number 5 is an increase in the number of projects based on shared data and documents.
As local newsrooms test out collaboration as a way to tackle big projects, one place where they see value is in sharing data and documents. And organizations like the Solutions Journalism Network and Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting are launching and supporting multiple collaboratives.
So the most challenging thing about doing this collaboration is doing the collaboration. I'm really committed to making sure that we have kind of a full spectrum of participation. And so that means even the smallest community news organization or an Asian, African American, Latino news organization, and often these groups have small staffs, very limited resources. And so how do we knit together or create a structure by which big organizations and small organizations can work together, and so that they all feel like they're a part of it, nobody's being exploited, and that we're enriched by that. And so I spend a lot of my time cajoling those who unfortunately have the least resources to be involved, and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to help them be involved.
So, what's next for collaborative journalism throughout 2019 and into 2020? It's likely that we'll continue to see additional local news collaborations, especially those with a renewed focus on equitable partnerships, specifically with ethnic and community media. We also expect to see more and deeper partnerships on stories with community members and organizations, as well as external funding of collaborative work, a focus on how to better collaborate by developing and sharing best practices, and more emphasis on measuring the impact of our projects.
I think the most exciting element about collaborative journalism today is the emphasis on impact. I think the point of collaborative journalism is really to get at the heart of what we want to do as journalists. We want to have impact. We want to protect the public good. We want to hold the powerful to account. And when you take out elements of competing with one another, when you use force multipliers like working together on collaboration, that's only going to make that easier and more effective.